I think it's working. Let's see. If I give it that 5 extra seconds of me babbling about nonsense, then I can kill time until it's ready to go. Now I think we're ready to go. Hi, my name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, the daily show. That's a Q&A specifically here to give you an opportunity to talk to a traffic cop. Ask me questions about traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff in general. And let's get into it. I've been chatting with people in the pre-show, the 5 minutes before we actually go live everywhere else. And the first question that I wanted to share with everybody, no. I'd be remiss if I didn't tell people how they can ask questions. Let's start there. If you are on Instagram, please use the Instagram Q&A. If you're on TikTok, Q&A functionality works there too. If you are on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, or Facebook, just throw it into the comments. We will see them, like the comment I just got, an aloha from Ryan Pinn coming in from YouTube. And if you are on Twitter, I'm very sorry we can't hear from you. I don't think we can. You can try. I don't think it's going to work. It hasn't worked for months. But I can tell you that if you will click over to our other social media channels, you will be able to interact with us and ask us questions, because that's what this is about. This is the show all about you. Answering your traffic and police questions is what we do. So it's the first show of 2023. Happy New Year. Hope you had a really good one. Hope you had a safe one. It's funny. Someone's telling me to invert, but I did invert. See, this is not inverted. It says mirroring is off. Now it says mirroring is on. So if it's not working, it's not working because TikTok broke it. But I did turn it on. So can you be exempt for tint on a windshield? This question is about tinted windows. And in Ontario, although it's different everywhere you go, in Ontario, you cannot have any tint on your windshield if your vehicle was manufactured in 2017 or newer. If it's older, you can have a 3-inch tint strip across the top. It's called a brow or a sun strip. That's legal. But vehicle 2017 or newer, you can have no tint. And tint on a windshield is actually one of those things that would make your vehicle fail a safety inspection, which means you would lose your license plates. You would also get a ticket for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle. But there is no medical exemption, and that's really what this question was asking. So if you have issues with your eyes that make you sensitive to light, I understand it's a problem. There are really great sunglasses you can wear. There are goggle-type sunglasses you can wear. And having the tinted windshield and heavily tinted side windows, not legal. Hey, what's going on here? We've got Jacob, who says good morning. And Akela with greetings and salutations. Sean Chen dropping in from YouTube. And what is this? Oh, risks of driving when you are told not to by your doctors. That's an interesting question from Shane. And the deal is that there's a difference. There's being told not to because it's a bad idea, and there's being told not to because of a medical suspension. If you're driving with a medical suspension, you are driving under suspension. And there are legal issues with that. Some things like the fact that I don't think your insurance company will insure you in the event of a collision. So there's all sorts of issues. However, listen to your doctors. They tend to know things. They are the learned people who want to keep you safe. We want to keep you safe on the road. We want to keep everybody safe on the road. Okay. So Shane follows up and says he was diagnosed with a drop foot. So that's when you can't control the movement of your foot, certain muscles. I had that. I resolved that issue, and you can hopefully have the same success that I did. But if you are being told not to drive with that, I would suggest that you don't drive with that, because you would obviously be at a high risk of causing a collision. There may be some optional hardware that you could get where you could move to some level of hand control. You'd have to be evaluated for that. How you doing? We have visitors in the office. Let's see here. We have some. Oh, Q says Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Okay. Q says you have to watch yourself inverted so that TikTok can see the proper way. I do see myself inverted. So here's my test. I reversed the reversing. So it says, oh, maybe this is, hang on. Video mirroring is on. Viewers are now watching the opposite view of what you're watching. They're saying, oh, they finally changed it to default? No way. It's like they've been listening to me. So TikTok now defaults to proper view as opposed to, no way. So I don't have to revert anymore. That just messed with me. Wow. So for anyone who's going, what is he talking about? If you're watching me on TikTok in particular, the platform would always be reversed. It would be mirrored. So you'd see what I saw, which is, when I moved right, it would move right on screen, which would be backwards. So all the text behind me that says traffic would be inverted. And I got into that habit of 2 years of doing this, that every time I went live, I had to go press mirror to actually make it proper so you could read the text. Well, now, without telling me, they never sent me an email. They didn't send me any texts. They went and fixed it so you don't have to mirror, which just makes sense. It really does. Because who wants to watch the reverso version of you? I don't get it. Anyway, thank you, Q, for letting me know. Okay. Ryan Pinn following up on a discussion for Shane. He says his sister-in-law has MS and drop foot. She has a hand-controlled device on her steering wheel. She can control the brake and accelerator with her fingers. So there you go. My response was accurate, even though he's in Nova Scotia. Is she in Nova Scotia too? Anyway, that's Ryan Pinn, who's a driving instructor in Nova Scotia and friend to the show. Got to get you on the show one of these days. Okay, let us go and see what kind of questions we have in the queue. All right. Can I sleep in my car in a Walmart parking lot? It depends on what Walmart has to say about it. I know that they allow for, in many jurisdictions, allow for RV parking there. I don't know what they think about cars. I would check with the management there. But certainly if you are feeling unwell or tired, that's probably a good place. But check with them to avoid problems. Oh, can we have license plate covers even if clear? Technically, although it upsets people, technically no. You can't put anything to obstruct the view of a license plate. People say, well, it's not obstruction. They're clear. But clear obstructions are still obstructions because they have plastic that is not optically correct, which means there are bends and curves and glares created by that plastic which prevent the easy viewing of that plate. And you can be charged for it. Are we actively going after people with clear plates? No. Could you possibly be charged? Yes. And I've been behind many, many license plates that are actually illegible because of the clear license plate cover, whether they be faded, dirty. There's so many different things. All right. What's the fastest speed you've ever caught? I don't keep score. I think 305 is the fastest that we've had an OPP officer, I think, catch someone recently in the last year or so. But I've never really paid attention to top scores. I've had people that are quite fast. I've charged a lot of stunt drivers, but it's really not a competition. At the end of the day, all I want to do is charge people for making the roads unsafe, and that happens at any speed over the speed limit. Okay, part one. Ashley has a two-part question. I'll try and find part two before I answer I found part two. Okay, here we go. Part one, speed camera caught someone going 50 plus in zone. Laws important. No. Wait, is the repercussion of breaking traffic laws? What? That's the same logo. That's different. That's not part two. That's somebody else's part two. Oh, well, maybe there's another. Let me refresh. Boy, it's like I haven't been here since last year. Oh, do you go and suspend driver's license? Okay, here's the question. It's a two-part. I found Ashley's second part. So camera ticket, you got caught speeding and you happen to be speeding 50 over. Now, the part two is, because that's stunt driving, do we then go and charge the driver? Well, that is automated speed enforcement. So no, we don't. Not that I'm aware of. There's no way to charge the owner for stunt driving, and that's what that's capturing. It's capturing the license plate, and it's not capturing the driver. Does that mean it's a free-for-all? No. Don't speed. You shouldn't be doing any speeding, especially in the school. Those are in school zones and community safety zones. There are areas that should be even slower than everywhere else. It's OVO Robert asking now on another platform, what hair products do I use? My work says I say a guy going 300, I think. I don't know what you're talking about. Sometimes I get questions and comments that don't mean much. Okay. Can you wear headphones while driving? In Ontario, actually you can. There's no law preventing it. Now, if you can't hear, which is what usually people say, is it unsafe? Well, here's the deal. you don't have to be able to hear in order to drive a motor vehicle. Now, is it a distraction? Sure it is. Music of any kind, whether it be pumped into your headset or just playing on your stereo, is a distraction. It just is. But it's not against the law. So use caution. Now, in terms of some of the modern headphones that are even noise canceling, have a transparency mode so you can hear what's around you, which I would suggest using if you're going to be using headphones while driving. The reason being is you want to hear those early warning signs of collisions that are coming up behind you, like screeching tires or high rev of engine as someone is gunning it. Any way you cut it, I want as much information to help me avoid a collision as I can get. Is there a charge for unsafe child seats? There are many charges that are related to the unsafe transport of children because there are standards. You have to be in the appropriate child seat for the age and weight of a child. You have to wear it properly, or they have to wear it properly. You have to install it properly into the vehicle. So there's a multitude of charges available. And those were one of my favorite charges to lay because protecting kids, it's a big deal. Okay, what else we got? Is TPS facing understaffing challenges currently? I think all police services are facing challenges when it comes to staffing. We are hiring. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, please visit our website, www.tps.ca/careers. All the information that you would ever want to know and more available there. We are hiring. I believe the chief, our previous chief, James Raymer, who recently retired, said that they're looking for 3 classes this year. So absolutely, we are hiring. And like I said, everybody is facing a shortage of some kind. Mr. Sloth wants to know if I know much about visas, like the ones charge cards or visas for entering countries. I don't know much about either of them, other than I have to pay the bill for the ones that I use at the grocery store. So I apologize, I don't know anything about visas for entering Canada or going anywhere else for that matter. What is the fine for driving on shoulders in congestion? You're driving off roadway. What is this? Let's say drive on shoulder. Let me pull up a charge. Let's have a look. Because there's a number of charges. It could be careless driving as well, depending on it. It could be stunt driving, depending on what we're observing. Let's have a look here. Just for shoulder. It's failed to drive on shoulder. What are we looking here? Non-authorized driving on paved shoulder, $110. Let's see. Unsafe move on shoulder. There's a bunch of charges, but definitely don't do it. The only time that you can pass on the shoulder is what's very specific. And it's not even for a divided highway. It's really intended for roads, which are highways, where someone is making a turn. And if it's it's a 2-lane, 1 lane in either direction, and there's a paved shoulder, you can use that shoulder to pass someone who is stopped waiting to make a left or in the process of making a left turn. Other than that, stay off the shoulder. Is there a charge for driving underage? Sure, it's called driving without a license. We charge people for that. Okay. Undead Neon comes into our magical Volley group. Volley being the group you can enter by going to trafficcop.ca. Neon says, with snow, if you clear off your rear license plate and when you get to your destination it's covered, can you be ticketed? There's reasonable and unreasonable. If it's actively snowing and there is stuff coming off the road and it's every 5 feet you'd have to get out, maybe a license plate windshield wiper or a license plate wiper. No, I would not charge someone for having a dirty plate if that plate was actively as a result of falling snow. But if you had packed snow from yesterday's snowfall, if it was just an abundance of snow on your vehicle and you failed to clear it, yeah, that's different. You technically both are illegal, but one is not reasonable. It's snowing. Every car would have some level of schmutz on the license plate. Is lane splitting on a motorcycle allowed? No, that's careless driving. It could be careless. It could be dangerous. It could be stunt. It depends, but it's not legal. So lane splitting, for anyone who's wondering what the heck I'm talking about, lane splitting is when you drive between vehicles that are in lanes. So if you have a vehicle, if it's a 4-lane road, 2 in either direction, and there's cars, we'll use cars, could be anything, cars in lane 1 and lane 2, and the motorcycle wants to go and it drives between the 2 cars, that's lane splitting, and that is illegal. And for good reason, it's unsafe. There are places where it's legal. Ontario is not one of them. It is legal in Los Angeles. But they also say it's dangerous. So, use caution. But here it's dangerous and illegal, so don't do it. Ryan Pinn says, in his opinion, one of the biggest impediments to learning to drive are cell phones and headphones. As someone getting ready to learn, you should be observing the driver and asking questions. If you are a learner, and there's a big difference between what's legal and what's a good idea. Headphones are not a good idea. Loud music isn't a good idea. Reading books while driving, not a good idea. Also, careless, in fact. Okay. Let's see what's next in the list of questions. Is the G1 test multiple choice? How's the layout? I never did a G1 test, but my learner's permit was funny. My learner's permit was on some kind of contraption that used a rear projector and it like 4 buttons. It was multiple choice, but sometimes the machine got stuck and asked you the same questions multiple times in a row because I'm that old. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough that they used very low tech. Yeah. I think I did my motorcycle test and it was on paper because those machines actually just fell apart. It was decomposing on the screen, on the desk. How are taxi cabs allowed to have blue light bar? A light bar? I think a difference between a projector bulb and a light bulb that's illuminated to say people are on board or not on board. I'm not aware of a light bar with flashing lights being on taxis. So if you mean just a marker light to signify whether people are in the cab or not, is different than a projector bulb. Because projector bulbs, you can't project light. And I know that all light is emitting and thus being projected, but a directional projector bulb is different. I saw the news about a $1,000 fine for driver. For what? Sorry, this must be a multi-part question from Billy. Let's see if I can find any more, Billy, because there are fines that are $1,000. Which fine or what offense are we talking about? Chase, what's going on? Why are comments off on YouTube? Comments aren't off on YouTube. I see comments. Try reloading. Are you blocked? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Distracted driving went up to $1,000? Are you kidding? For real? Hang on a second here. Chase is saying that now he's saying it on another platform. They've increased it. Wow, I'm getting schooled here. Apparently, things have come into effect today. That's amazing. So they've increased the distracted driving penalties again. I'll have to read up. And Vehicle Valley says comments are not off here, but something's going on with Chase. So maybe try reloading your YouTube and see if you can get back on. We are on multiple platforms, and what a great opportunity for me to say, hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I'm on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. So if you don't already follow me, please do. That's how you get notified, and it allows you to come back and get notified next time we go live, which is generally Monday to Friday from 10 to 11. It's what we do. It's so we can be accessible, reachable, talk to you, because this is important. We started doing this 2 years ago. Wow. Canadian Show confirms comments are working. They are working. Who manages green P lots? I imagine green P people. Or is it green people? Maybe that's what the P stands for. Oh, it's parking, yeah. It's I don't know who manages them. I don't know if it's private or public. I don't know. I assume it's city run, but I could be wrong. Not my area of expertise. My favorite answer or question, because it's my favorite answer to this favorite question, can I drive to Buffalo with my G2? Well, for those who don't know where we are, we're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and that happens to be just north of the border. Well, maybe not just north, but north-ish of the border to Buffalo, New York. And of course, that's home to my favorite wing joint, which after the last question was asked about driving to the United States, I made it all about buffalo wings, and then I went to Buffalo to have those wings because I like buffalo wings. And you should too, because they're really good wings. I went to the home of the buffalo wing, which happens to be, does anybody know? I'll let it simmer there for a second. Yeah. Where would you go for wings if you were going to Buffalo? I know where I would go. Happy New Year, Shappy from the Raging Cajun. Canadian, my bad. Done. Well, we got a bunch of folks here on the Instagram. Okay. So, yes, you can go into the United States. You can drive intraprovincially. You can drive basically anywhere that you could with a full G license, but you have to follow all your conditions. I'm getting support through email. My buddy Andy just sent me an email. So as of, look at that. Yeah, first distracted driving offense in Ontario now carries a fine of, actually, I think that it was always $615. $615 was the previous. So maybe this isn't new. Maybe the suspensions are new. 3 demerit points, license for 3 days, second offense. Okay, so this isn't that new. Did it change, or is this exactly the same? When they said $1,000, because you talk about most convictions, most offenses have ranges, so it depends. It depends on what happens in court. Those are offenses that, well, at least with stunt driving, there's no set fine. You go directly to court, and then court will determine. But unless things have changed. Let me actually, you know what? Yeah, it's a good idea. Here's a good idea. Why am I talking about it without checking against the information? Use handheld. Handheld. Here we go. No, it's the same. Nothing changed. It's $500 set fine plus victim fine surcharge. $615 is the total. 3 or 6 demerit points depending on the number of convictions. So I don't think anything's changed. Why is this big news today? Sometimes the media re-releases information on a regular basis. And it's old news that's made new news again, even though I don't think there's any change. And I don't see an amendment date there. I got to go deep diving into this. Okay, but I don't want to harp on this because not everybody cares about this. I care about this. Let's see here. Josh Tao was charged. 2 months ago, I was charged with failed to keep right. I talked with a lawyer. He told me going the speed limit in the left lane is more serious than speeding. 20 over is $95, while charge is $180. Is it more serious? This is such an interesting conversation question because speeding is the problem. Driving the speed limit is not the problem. Driving the speed limit in any lane shouldn't be the issue. The people who need our attention are the people who are breaking the law. And the people who are breaking the law are the people who are choosing to exceed the speed limit. And the dollar amount of a speed or of an infraction is not an indicator as to what's more serious. It's not. The fact is that certain charges have been updated. And we have the lowest speeding offenses, lowest dollar amount attributed to a speeding offense in Canada. We're the cheapest. We're at the discount place to go and speed, apparently, because the same offense in other jurisdictions is far higher. So I don't think the price is the indicator you should be using to determine the level of concern that we have in relation to it. Because remember, I was going to say that the government is separate from the police in terms of the enforcement, but things are coming up. Things will be increasing continuously. What is this? Must be, what's going on here? TPS Calvin says, hang on. We just ran out of juice on my my magical, hang on a second here. We ran out of juice, the Mike juice. Did you know Mike's run on juice? Hang on a second. Batteries don't like coming out either. Which one's negative? Positive. There we go. Okay, we got juice again. Hopefully you can hear me again. I appreciate the update. So the battery was dead. Let's mark this one as dead. This is where Sharpies are amazing because I will keep this battery. I'll think it's good, and then I got to put dead on it. Otherwise, it's going to be, yeah. Instagram, only thing that consumes batteries on my desk because my iPhone is rechargeable. But the device I use, There we go. Can hear you. Cool. Much appreciated. I'm glad we could resolve that. What happened to Greg? Oh, we're talking. Are we talking about the OPP officer who was killed? I'm not sure I'm not sure what the question is. If that's what you're asking about, let me know, because I can. All I know is what's in the news, but we can certainly talk about it. Does a dog have to be secured by seatbelt in a vehicle? No, not legally, but if you want them to survive in a collision, it's a really good idea. See, what happens is in a collision, unsecured items, including animals and people, become projectiles within that vehicle, sometimes exiting the vehicle through windows and other openings, sometimes not, but in any case, they become seriously injured. So if you love your dog, and I assume you do, use a tether, a pet tether, that it works in conjunction with the seatbelt system, and it can secure them. In the back seat is the best place for them. Front seat, not so good, but tethered better than not, and certainly not in a driver's lap, because if they're on your lap, you're breaking the law. That's careless driving. Could also be drive while crowded. And what else we got here? Water is needed. I want to know, can bicycle not wear a helmet on road? Well, bicycles don't wear helmets. They're bicycles. I'm making fun of you. I'm sorry. Cyclists in Ontario who are under the age of 18 are legally obligated to wear a helmet. If they don't, they can be charged. If they're under a certain age, either they can be charged, or either a parent or guardian can be charged, or they can be charged and notified a parent. Depends on the age. In any case, it's against the law. You have to wear a helmet until you're 18. Once you're 18, the law determines you're old enough to make bad decisions, and it really is a bad decision. We want you to wear a helmet at every age, because protecting that computer is a really good move. Minor collisions, minor falls, even not involving anybody else, just smacking your noggin against a curb could change your life forever, if not end it. So protect your melon, wear a helmet. I need something that rhymes with melon, like protect your melon, wear a lemon. I don't know. That doesn't rhyme either. Hey, you know what I didn't do? I did not read you the dad joke. We have I just got to pause for dad jokes. I'm sorry. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a dad, and as a result, I am required legally to share dad jokes. And my wonderful wife, Leo wife, got me a calendar, and on this calendar is a dad joke a day. Now, I have a deck of dad jokes that I bought. That's here. But I've used some of these. Let's go where I haven't used them. This is brand new dad jokes. And I didn't do VZ because I can't get in. The website's not letting me, so I don't even know where they are. But thank you for the heads up. And Angela, thank you for the Happy New Year's. Okay. This is the one officially from the 31st and January 1st. Dad joke is as follows. I'm not impressed with the organizers of the New Year's Eve celebration at Times Square. They always drop the ball. January 2nd. The ski trip started off great, but it was all downhill from there. It's actually not bad. And today's, it's a lawyer one. This is good. As a lawyer, the number of wrongful convictions shouldn't surprise me. After all, it's just trial and error. Okay. These are definitely a cut above the last group of these dad jokes. They were not the original dad jokes. In the deck, I know why they were on sale at Winners, because they're like subpar. Yeah. All right, let's get back into questions, because that's what we're all about. I don't know anybody who actually shows up for the dad jokes. They're just a bonus. All right. Do OPP have more authority than city police? No. They're police. They have different jurisdictions like they hang out in. And very often they will go into other areas that don't have municipal police, and they will act as the local police. But they are just police. They enforce the same laws. I'm not aware of any jurisdictional bonus for having being a provincial officer versus a police officer. We go to the same college, the Ontario Police, it's OPC, Ontario Police College. Crystal says, Happy New Year and good morning. Thanks, Crystal. Let's see here. What's the rule on tints, and is it really that serious, or are they that serious? Tints. We haven't talked about tints. Well, we did talk about tints. So here's the deal. Tinted windows. What does a tint do? It restricts the amount of light that comes through a window. What do eyes do? They basically convert light into your picture that into brain stuff. Okay, I'm overcomplicating things. Less light means less vision. Less vision means more dangerous. We can't see in, you can't see out. It's bad for everybody. And that is true. It's not good. Tinted windows are bad. I mean, you have to be able to reduce glare and some reduction, but it's not a privacy shield. You don't have a right to pick your nose in private. And the deal is that if they are too dark and they obscure the interior of your motor vehicle, or they're so dark that they're unsafe, your vehicle will you would either receive a ticket for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with color or reflective tint, because we can't see in. That's a problem. We have to be able to see if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you're using your cell phone, observations that law enforcement has, but we also have public that needs to see in to be able to identify a driver that's involved in a collision, for crime stuff, for Amber Alert stuff. We're looking for information, and then there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in your motor vehicle. So, is it that serious? Absolutely it is. And I've given plenty of tickets in relation to it, and people have lost their license plates for it because it is serious. Is it the number one thing we're doing on the road? No. More serious to that are, in my opinion, speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Those are our big four. That's the focus of our efforts every day. But tint is still on the list. Okay. What can I do as a passenger to slow the driver? So, okay. You're a passenger in someone's vehicle. They're driving unsafely. You don't feel comfortable with the way they're driving. Obviously, say something. And it's tough, especially for youth and kids and passengers who don't own their own vehicle, that are, at the, that are reliant on somebody else to drive. Because if you speak up, you may not be a passenger for very long. But your safety is more important than getting somewhere comfortably, in my opinion, because you may not get there one day. It really makes a difference. If someone's driving in such a way that you feel unsafe, you should speak to them or stop driving with them. And that might be a reason to get your own license, to get your own car. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Being with someone who is toxic. If I said to you that that person's impaired, you wouldn't get in the car with them. But driving a vehicle unsafely should be as scary. Vehicle Valley wants to know if I have watched the World Juniors. I don't have cable. I don't even know what the World Juniors are. Is that hockey, basketball, baseball? What is that? Is it car related? I have no idea. But the answer is no. I have not been watching it. All right. What's this? Should drunk driving be legal? Well, that's a silly question. I don't even know why I acknowledged it. Obviously, it's criminal, and it should be criminal. In fact, it should be so criminal that no one gets away with it. Because right now, it's one of those highly litigated charges. And it's an area of law where people make an entire career getting people off of that charge. And it's wrong. I don't know why we spend so much time or allow people to spend so much time getting away with these charges. There's no question that someone who's being charged is actually, well, I won't get into this. There's a lot of people who break the rules, and those people should be held accountable, and that's it. Okay, cars were in ditches for days after the storm. Why? I don't know why. I also don't know where. I assume it was because they couldn't get them out, but I don't know the details. I know in Buffalo there's some tragedies where people actually froze to death in their vehicles. So why that happened, I couldn't tell you. Don't have an answer for you. Any opinion? What is this? Any opinion on Europeans policing? Do you mean Europeans becoming police officers here, or Europeans in Europe being police officers in Europe? I don't have any opinions. I don't know anything about their policies, procedures, or anything. I'm a police officer in Ontario. I can only really speak to what goes on here because I have no other information. Ontario car plate, do we need to do a test to go to USA? So if you are traveling into the United States with an Ontario plated vehicle and you're an Ontario driver, there's no test for you to do. Your license is accepted there. Let's see here. How do you feel about Waze warning drivers about cops? I think it's great. I always felt special when I was doing speed enforcement, and I was notified that I was somewhere because I was like famous. Now it's different. People know who I am because I'm on TikTok and social media. But then it was just like acknowledgement that I'm doing a good job. People are paying attention. All seriousness, if you're being notified that police are up ahead or there's a hazard and you change your driving temporarily to do it, it makes it safer for me. Now, do I want to catch speeders? Absolutely. Is it wrong to notify people where speed enforcement is taking place? I think so, because the goal of speed enforcement is to catch the people who are breaking the law so they can lose their license and pay the fines and so on, because what they're doing is making it dangerous for everybody else on the road. So if you are helping to notify other drivers to temporarily slow down so they don't get caught, that's wrong. If you're trying to keep a cop safe, well, it's good. See, it's two sides of the same coin. I don't have an issue. It's not against the law to use Waze. You can't be manipulating Waze while you're driving. That is against the law. You can only have it mounted and on. Don't be touching your screen to notify people where the police are while you're driving. That's against the law. How much corruption have you seen? How much corruption have you seen? I can't even think of anything that's corrupt that I've seen. I mean, other than in really good movies, and I'm sure there's corruption in all sorts of areas, but I've never seen firsthand anything. I haven't even. I've heard of some people being charged, so I mean it exists, but yeah. What is this? How do you feel about what happened to Damar Hamlin? I don't know what. I understand he collapsed. He had a cardiac arrest and he was taken to hospital. I don't know details beyond that. It's tragic. I understand people were outside of the hospital. With I don't know if it was candlelight vigil, but hopefully he gets a full recovery. But if there's been more than I don't know about, then I'm sorry. Gotham is corrupt. Are we talking about like literally Gotham, Batman Gotham? Do cops drive modified cars? Some have modified cars. If they're legal modified cars, are okay for the road. Many of them, we have a number of police officers who race cars. Their modified cars are not street legal. They don't drive them on the street. What is this? Right turn, U-turn, legal to avoid red. If it can be done legally and lawfully and safely, did I say legally and lawfully? Yeah, it's a double one. If it can be done lawfully and safely, then that's not against the law. The big issue is if you cause a collision during any of those maneuvers, you would be responsible for them. Turning maneuvers are a problem. But don't avoid the red. How much time are you losing by waiting safely at a red? Where do you got to go that's so important? Okay. Time check. It's 10:38. And by the way, for anyone who's new to the channel who doesn't know what we do here, my name is Sean Shapiro. I work for the Toronto Police Traffic Services Unit in the media department. We used to be called, well, actually, technically, I think we still are, the Traffic Safety Programs Unit, but we also handle all media relations, and we also do the social media. And social media has, over the last couple of years, really moved into the focus of what we do. And we're here to educate, inform, discuss, make it accessible. So if you're watching us for the first time, please follow us. If you have questions, please ask us. We're here from 10 to 11, Monday to Friday, unless we're not here, because I was off for 2 weeks. We didn't do any lives because nobody else does this. But we often have guests. We have a podcast called TPS Traffic Jam. We have 2 episodes left from last year's season that need to be finished, edited, and posted, and then we start season 2. And this is technically the 2023 season of Ask a Traffic Op. So it's happening. You're in it right now. First episode of 2023. I'm very proud of what we're doing here. It's very cool. So thank you to everyone who's watching, because this is because of you. Because you're here and participating, this is happening. Am I allowed to start walking on a flashing red hand? What do you think? Well, I know that most pedestrians think that they still have time. Well, no, that's an indicator. The flashing hand is an indicator for people already in the intersection, not an indicator for people who want to enter the intersection. Wait, let me refresh. The countdown timer is an indicator for how much time people have to get out of the intersection. The red hand flashing means don't enter the intersection. So, yeah, you could be charged. Don't do it. It's for your safety. It doesn't mean run faster. That's for sure. Is it illegal to drive barefoot? Joshua, you got good questions. No, it's not illegal in Ontario to drive barefoot. Not a good idea, but it's not illegal. I need to refill my water. I got to re-up. Operating the spigot with one hand, less easy than I thought. But successfully executed mission without spilling. If we get pulled over in the highway, where do we stop? You pull over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway once you see those lights and you hear those sirens. That's what you do. It's not shopping for the best parking spot. You pull over to the nearest edge of roadway or curb. If we want you to move, we'll give you a toot on the horn to say keep moving. Otherwise, just stop and wait. You'll get further direction. Is the RCMP the FBI of Canada? Yeah, they're a federal police force. The FBI is a federal police force. It's very different than in the States. Very different. Because they are... Someone's calling me. I can't answer the phone. Yeah, just like we have CSIS, and that's the CIA of Canada, the intelligence service. So parallels, but very different, because the RCMP does municipal policing. The FBI doesn't. So same, but different. How long is the road test now? I have no idea. I know that there was an extension. There was originally an extension to the reduced length test, which was done to sort of take 30% off the test so it would go faster. I think that's coming to an end, as are the driving instructor said so in one of his videos. And I believe him because he knows stuff. But I don't know the actual date, so we'll have to circle back after we find out. Maybe we'll do a video about it. Does a red light camera ticket affect license and insurance? No. It's unfortunately something that isn't enforceable here from that perspective. So it's a owner responsibility charge. It goes to the owner of the motor vehicle. It does not go to the driver, because we don't know who the driver is. But in Australia, a red light camera ticket or a speed camera ticket, it goes to the registered owner's license. And they have the opportunity of appearing before a magistrate and saying, I wasn't driving the car, but they were. And that person can take the ticket. But, maybe we need that. Because we have people who have 12 tickets from the red light camera or from the automated enforcement camera. Automated enforcement, by the way, is one of the podcast episodes that we have coming up, because the team from the automated enforcement team came on and we did a podcast episode. I just haven't had the opportunity to edit it. Hey, Sean, carjackings are on the rise in Ottawa. If someone charges my car with a weapon and I hit them with my car trying to get away, would that be self-defense? This was a debate last night. I can't tell you exactly how to navigate. This is a touchy subject. You shouldn't hit people with your car, but you do have to get away from someone who's charging you, depending on what the weapon. It's a very complicated charge. Wow, complicated conversation. So, yeah, I can't advocate for you to run someone over, and you would probably be arrested. And what happens afterwards, would be part of a police investigation. So you're allowed to use lethal force to defend yourself, but then you're in this muddy water where you have to explain and justify your actions. So dangerous waters. Certainly, you'd have to be able to justify, articulate. Hopefully, you have a camera in your car, like a dash camera. Yeah, that's an uncomfortable situation. But so is being carjacked. It's unfortunate that we have so many criminal elements working to. At the end of the day, what the police will tell you, what we will tell you as our official word, is that you should not. Put your life at risk for your car. That if someone comes to take your car with a weapon, you're best off to give them your car. That's the safest, apparently. We have a podcast app. Actually, check out our podcast, TPS Traffic Jam. We had an episode with the head of Hold Up, who talked specifically about carjacking. So lots of information there, and I haven't spoken about it in a while. So check that out. Let's see here. Why can't you straight pipe your truck? Well, straight piping would be bypassing emissions control and noise management like mufflers, and that's against the law because there's rules in Ontario and many parts of the world that require you to have all those things. They don't put them on there for fun. No manufacturer puts it on there because they like it. It's because it's required to operate a vehicle in here. Okay. If I'm being pulled over, can I find a well-lit spot? When you're being pulled over, you have to pull over immediately. You can't shop for parking. Ostinator, what's going on? Okay. Can you get pulled over after running a red light camera? Absolutely. The red light camera is not a get out of a regular ticket option. In fact, I'd rather give you the red light ticket as a police officer because then you lose points and it's a bigger impact. So you could take our ticket after paying it and say that you got charged by a police officer, and maybe they would drop it, but we are the priority. The police officer laying the charge has more impact. It means more. It's more important. And don't run red lights. Can you turn right on red from middle turn lane? So I'm glad you specified turn lane. So this is when you're getting off of one highway generally, and there are multiple right turn lanes. I grew up thinking only the curb lane was the one that was able to be used as on a red light. But truth be told, you can make a right turn from either of those as long as you turn into the appropriate lane and you have come to a complete stop. Please, a complete stop. I'll get more into why I'm so angry about right turns. But it's right turn on red after you come to a complete stop. And it can be done from either of those lanes into the appropriate lane. So curb lane into curb lane, and next one over next one over. Has to be done safely, and you're responsible for everything that happens. Now, when I say please come to a stop, I am watching, although as though it were an epidemic, watching people who have, I don't know if they just don't care or they just don't know. Whatever it is, people are not stopping for red lights on right turns. They're just driving through. I don't get it. I don't understand. How does anyone drive with a license here and not realize you have to stop for red lights? And the right turn on red only means you can do it safely after you've come to a complete stop. Anyway, I that is my biggest pet peeve at the moment, people who just don't know how to drive or choose to not care. Hey, noticing we got a whole bunch of people in the room. If you don't already follow us, please do. We'd love to have you as part of the family. We go live Monday to Friday from 10 to 11. We do this thing called Ask a Traffic Cop where I sit here answering your traffic and police questions for an hour. We put up other stuff too, but this is the opportunity to get that live element where you can actually ask stuff. We guest on multiple radio stations, and we do it like this, where we tune in and they tune into us. And and then we also, what else do we do? Yeah, we also post stuff. We have some podcasts. We do a lot of stuff. We're pretty busy. I just realized that. So this is my first day back after weeks away. It's very nice to be back in the office and to once again be out here for, to chat with you, get to know you, because this is all about engaging the public. I mean, I have a lot of fun doing it, but we have not had this level of hang out and chat with the public in a long time. Well, actually, 2 years we've been doing it, but it's been amazing. Chase has a question. What's Chase's question? What do we do? Okay, let's see. Let's see what he says.
What are the HTA or safety?
Let me back that up because I didn't have the volume up. Come back.
Vehicles and the requirement for them to make noise for.
Here we go.
What are the HTA or safety laws regarding electric vehicles and the requirement for them to make noise for pedestrians? Like, do they all have to do is there like a certain level? What's the law?
Okay, so this is for electric cars. Do they have to make noise to alert people that they're coming? I don't think there's a law that says they have to project or play a noise. I don't know. I got to look into that. Let me make a note. Because as far as I know, this is something that manufacturers are doing because they want to avoid liability. But I don't think it states anywhere in the Highway Traffic Act that a vehicle has to emit a noise to avoid pedestrians walking into their path. So let's see here. EV noise. Made a note. My new book, and I got this wonderful book from a friend of mine who may be watching. He sent me a Barbados book, so that's now my book for the show. Just saying. All right. By the way, Chase is a regular listener who comes up with the best questions. He sent that to me on Volley, where you can send me video, voice, or text. And he did that by going to trafficcop.ca, which is where you get the invite link into our little community. And he can make comments again. So what happened? I see that. I just realized that you're able to make comments on YouTube again. Yes, thank you very much, Chase. We had a loss in the family, which is one of the reasons I was off longer than I originally planned. So he was just sharing condolences. What do we got here? Can you move through a red light to yield to an emergency vehicle? The answer is no. The only people who can go through a red light are police, fire, and ambulance with full lighting and and siren equipment active. So you can make a right turn on a red if it's safe to do so, but that's it. Okay. Can you sue the cops in Ontario for wrongfully being arrested? Reposted because I'm super curious. The deal is that you can sue anybody for anything. Whether you win will be based on the facts and what the trier of fact, being the judge or JP, believes you bring to the table. Like if you bring evidence to suggest that they are responsible financially, then you might be finding yourself paid out. And what's a wrongful arrest? That's things that you need to be able to substantiate. So can you sue? You can sue anybody for anything, pretty much. Will you win? It's a different story. And I don't know the answer to that. How fast does a police car go top speed? I have no idea. I don't try and go to top speed. I try and get to where I'm going safely, because if I do not get to where I'm going, I can't help anybody. Guaranteed arrival is what it's all about. Billy wants to know if Aaron from parking is here. Aaron is not here. Aaron sits over there when she's here, but we don't have the same schedule, so I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen her today. Does TTC buses get tickets if did park on the road? If did potentially. I mean, I don't see TTC buses parked very often. They usually have very specific places where they stop. More water is required. Do you guys actually eat donuts? Yeah. We eat food. Some people eat donuts, so I prefer chicken wings. It really is a very personal thing, but I don't think there's anybody who says, I do not eat donuts. Like, I don't eat donuts right now. I'm doing that no carb thing because I don't need them. So donuts are off the menu right now, but would I eat a donut if I wasn't? Yes, I would. Let's see here. Do you need what is this? Oh, do you need a free sticker now for plates? Well, they're free. It's free to renew. There's no physical sticker distributed anymore. Giving free and then still having to, manufacture a sticker would be not a good move for the government. But what they did is they got rid of the stickers, and it's free to renew, but you have to be valid, and you have to have all your bills paid in terms of any fines that you may have incurred. So that's the story. Still got to renew, and if you don't renew it, you would have a plate that isn't valid. Okay, we have is it Yanais? I don't know how to pronounce your name. It says, I'm French. In American movies, cops drink coffee and eat donuts. Is this a reality? Well, the coffee I can attest to. Yeah, I actually, not everybody. There's some tea drinkers out there, but I drink a lot of coffee. I don't eat a lot of donuts though, which is deceiving because based on my outward appearance, some might think that I am a donut connoisseur. Let's see here. To be ticketed, does TPS need to be in full uniform? Do you mean do I as a police officer have to wear a full uniform in order to issue you a ticket? No, I can issue you. I'm a police officer. Whether I'm in uniform or not, I can issue a ticket. I don't even have to issue the ticket that day. If I make observations, in relation and can identify a driver, the vehicle, date, time, location, I can come to your house later and lay the charge. It is not required for me to be in uniform to write you a ticket. Is it ideal that I would be? Sure, but it's not required. Should do another car seat talk before my classes. Amanda, how you doing? When are we doing it? You tell me. Would love to have you back on for an episode. Amanda is an auxiliary officer with the Toronto Police Service, specifically with traffic services. She is a car seat technician extraordinaire, a master of all things car seat, who teaches the course for how to become a car seat technician. And we'd love to have a talk about that. So please reach out. Let me know when you're available. We'll chat more on the messenger business. Okay. Can a person drive with a G1 and insurance? So a person with a G1 must and can only drive a motor vehicle that is insured and whilst being supervised by a licensed, qualified G driver, which means they have 4 years experience. They got those dots on the bottom right-hand corner, and that supervisor is not only present in the front seat and no one else is in the front seat, they also have to be sober. They have to be under 0.05 BAC, which is blood alcohol content. Otherwise, there's all sorts of charges that would be levied, and also they wouldn't be covered by insurance. So don't drive without having complied with all the conditions of a G1. Most importantly, having a supervising driver, because people say, well, I don't have any alcohol in my blood. That's great, but that's not the only thing. You have to have all of the conditions met. What do we have here? White and orange flashing light for construction legal ? Depends on the direction that you're flashing. You can't have white light flashing to the rear. Is it an amber only is a better solution? Which is just like having your hazard lights on. But white flashing light to the rear or sides could be a problem. You could get charged. How many kids could you bring if you got a G1? If you got a G1, there's no restriction as to the number of people in your vehicle that I'm aware of. When you have your G2, in the first 6 months and second 6 months of being licensed, you have restrictions of the number of people who are not your immediate family being in the vehicle between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. That's different. But G1, I don't think there's any restrictions. But how many people do you want to put in danger? Because as a G1, you're at your highest risk. You are a new driver who knows little and is learning. So this isn't the time to start becoming the mover of people. I mean, obviously, if you've got kids, you need to bring your kids with you because they're your kids. If it's your immediate family and that's the only time you can get access to a car, then it is what it is. But don't start hauling people, and make sure everybody is wearing a seatbelt and following all the rules. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. Why are cops so butthurt about stretched tires? Because they're illegal, they're dangerous, and will pull you off the road for unsafe vehicle. That means lose your license plates because you're putting people's lives at risk. Tires are not supposed to be stretched. They're not safe when you do that. So don't do that. It's not about us being butthurt. It's about you breaking the law and putting lives at risk, and we're holding you accountable for the silly behavior. Okay. What grade of window tint is legal in Ontario? The max for light tint for tinted windows is going to be a safety. You can be safety if you have 30% or less light blockage. So 70% of light has to get through. That's not necessarily going to get you off the hook with tickets for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle. It's a separate charge. It means if you can't be seen, if you can't be identified, if you can't be observed through the window because your windows are so dark that they're obscured, you can still get a ticket. So light tint is the maximum tint. Don't go into dark. Even 30% can get you a ticket. Can I use a plate flipper on a private driveway? On private property, when the vehicle is not on the road, you can do a lot of things, and that's one of the things you could do. As soon as it hits the road, if you were flipping your license plate, you could be getting a problem. Where can I get the book? Mohammed wants to know. I assume you mean the driver's handbook. It's available for free online. Search for it. MTO site has access. You can also buy those at local bookshops and places like Canadian Tire sells it. Okay. The rabbit wants to go and join the live, but I'm not bringing anybody in. But I appreciate the request. What if we park a car and we hit someone car? Okay, I think that you mean when you're in a parking lot, you hit a car as opposed to the car, once you've parked it, hit somebody, because that doesn't make any sense. So if you're parking a vehicle and you hit another car, that's a collision. And depending on the amount of damage, it could be a reportable collision. You should be making efforts to contact the owner of that vehicle and take responsibility for the damage that you caused. It is a collision. It does not constitute, or generally will not constitute, charges, because most charges cannot be laid on private property. That being said, get in contact with the owner, either and maybe call police and notify them that you had collision, in case the other person is trying to contact you. A door ding, oddly enough, is not through the movement of a motor vehicle. And if you make contact and it's minor damage that way, you may not even be aware of it. But it's not a collision. Door dings are different. Recommend BAC for driving. BAC being blood alcohol content. What is the recommended BAC? 0. No drugs, no alcohol. There's no reason to have anything in your system when behind the wheel of a motor vehicle. Does that mean people are going to avoid having anything? As long as you are not covered under if you're not under any conditions to have 0 BAC, you could have some. But is it a good idea? The best is always 0. Of course, 0.05 to 0.079 is going to be a warn range, which means you get suspended, and 0.08 means you're going to get arrested. So no alcohol, again, the best. Are you supposed to leave? It's 11 a.m. It is 11 a.m. And I'm just trying to muscle through a couple of questions to see if there's anything magical here that we should really be covering, because it's been a while. So I don't want to kick anybody out. And we still have a number of, we have 338 people in the room right now, just on TikTok alone. So what about giving them a chance to get some other questions? I'll give you a couple more minutes, and then I got to go, because there are media requests today. We had a collision that occurred last night, and there's a number of media outlets that I've got to reach out to answer their questions. Okay. Can I drive in the U.S. with a G2? Yes, you can, but you have to follow all conditions. So that's the 0 BAC and maximum number of people within the vehicle during certain times. Can a G1 drive alongside with a full G driver? So, full G with 4 years experience. That's 4 years from the time they got their G2 till they got their G, like total 4 years total amongst those two license classes. And they have to have both actually the best thing is don't even try and do the math. Go to the ministry. If you don't have the 4 dots on their license, they don't qualify. Simple as that. If you're a G-class driver and you want to be qualified, as soon as you have that those 4 years, go to the MTO, go to the Service Ontario, get them to update your card so you have the 4 dots. Because if you don't have 4 dots, that's a problem. At least it's a potential problem. Not a firefighter, I see you. Thank you very much for the messages. If you don't have insurance and gets pulled over, here's the deal. If you're driving with no motor vehicle insurance, you are in violation of the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act. And the deal is that you are subject to fines of $5,000 to $25,000 on your first offense and up to 6 months in jail. Don't do that. Not to mention the fact that if you're driving with no insurance and you're involved in a collision, you are liable. They gonna sue you. I know people who have been sued and $250,000 plus. Oh, bankruptcy bad. Don't do it. Can I have a red light ticket without camera? You want one? We can get you one. What do you mean? Can I have a red light ticket without a camera? How do you get a red light? So red light, yeah, police can lay a red light ticket. So I don't understand the way you've written it. Do you still have Instagram? I'm looking at it right now. It's over there. Instagram is Traffic Services Toronto. We still have it. It is a lesser platform. Like, we have fewer people who are on it. We do go live there as well because we have the technology, but TikTok's by far the number one platform. We also have YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So we're everywhere. And we're there everywhere right now. We're simulcasting. Okay. Remain in the same lane when turning at lights. Yeah, you have to go into the appropriate lane to be a proper turn. If you go into the wrong lane, it's an improper turn. You can be charged. Can we pass snowplows on a single lane road? Possibly the worst thing you could possibly do is to pass a working snowplow. It is unsafe. Being that it's unsafe, it could result in charges, depending, especially if you're talking about a one-lane road. If you go ahead of them, then you end up becoming the car that passes that spins out and causes a collision. Oh my goodness, the evidence and charges would be fantastic. Don't do that. Don't pass working snowplows. And what is this? Oh, people with some silly comments. How did they come up with a .08 limit? I don't know. Does a horse and buggy follow the HTA? There are charges specific to horse and buggy for the HTA. Mostly, I think, is about the. You know what? I don't know. Being that we're in Toronto, I very rarely deal with horses. But running red lights on horseback, not a vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. I will have to call the folks at the mounted unit and have that conversation. That would be a funny episode. Looking for how should we handle the slow driver hogging the left lane? Is that slow driver speeding or are they driving at the speed limit? Because if they're speeding, well, they should be charged for speeding. If they're driving the speed limit, why are you speeding? If they're driving well below the speed limit, you go around them safely, not recklessly, dangerously, because then that's dangerous. I got some stuff. Someone asked about a convoy. Apparently, they're not doing the convoy. There was a convoy. I was hearing this on the radio this morning. Apparently, there was a convoy planned that is no longer planned, and thus there's nothing to talk about. Are tractor trailers allowed in the left lane? Yes, unless there's signs prohibiting them. There's no blanket statement saying they can't be there, which actually I grew up thinking there was. Is it illegal to U-turn on a red light? Yeah, 'cause it's called running a red light. Red lights require you to stop for them. Proceeding through that intersection into the intersection before it turns green, that's against the law. Performing a U-turn requires you to break the law to get to do the U-turn. So yeah, you cannot perform a U-turn on a red light. Right turn on red, lawful. Left turn on red, legal from a one-way street to another one-way street. But U-turns on red, against the law. Hey, it's been a lot of fun hanging out. First one of 2023 can only get better from here, but it's been a blast, and we will be back here. Not tomorrow because there is a funeral tomorrow. So we are going to we are going to be radio silent. We're not going to go live because we want to go and honor our brother from the OBP whose life was taken when he was murdered. So that is it's a tragic loss that all of policing feels, and as a result, we'll be back on Thursday. So have a wonderful day. Happy New Year again, and we'll see you then. Ciao for now. A little bit of the traffic song, written and performed by a police officer.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.